What is going on? I am hanging out with my new best friend Maurae right now. We are doing a epic wake and bake session, honestly, and just chatting it up. I am having a ball right now. You asked me a question because I don't do a lot of these interviews, let's say for both of our self-esteems right now, these podcasts with a lot of people I don't necessarily know. But you asked me right before we went into this, why did I move from Connecticut to Lincoln, Nebraska? I don't know. I ask myself that literally every day when I look outside. I have to remind myself still that I'm in Nebraska. I've been here for a year now, and sometimes this wiles me out still. I'll look at myself on Google Maps and then zoom way the fuck out and just see that dot in the middle of the country, and I just go, "No way! I used to be on the ocean. This is crazy." I feel very
The
land.
the silence isn't reminder enough for you?
It's not very silent in Lincoln. It's loud and fucking annoying, and everyone's just screaming in the street about Cornhuskers. I don't know. Where are you in Colorado? Are you in like Denver proper or?
Yes,
Oh, okay, so
I
you're
am in Denver proper.
okay, so you're living La Vida Loca. I mean, I want to go to Colorado more. Like in Nebraska, that's like the big thing is like take the drive across the whole fucking state and go where I don't know, weed's legal and like people have rights again and shit. But like, I always just end up doing shows in Chicago if I'm gonna drive 8 hours. I don't know. I gotta make it out to Denver soon.
It's wonderful out here. And we've got the mountains, we've got all these different sports teams and all these wonderful venues for bands to play at. Yeah, we've
Yeah,
really
you got
got
the
it all.
nightlife. So, did you start comedy in Denver? Have you always lived there? Did you move there? Are you a transplant? Like, what's your story? How did you get into this sad game of comedy? Like,
Well, I got into comedy about 8 years ago.
oh wow.
Because I was suffering from chronic migraines. Um, I was diagnosed with a TBI, which is a traumatic brain injury, and I wasn't employable at the time because of the migraines. So I figured I've got nothing to lose. Why not start a job in comedy?
I don't know. I usually get my migraines from open mics. So I don't know. That's why I like my eyes widened immediately. I'm like, your cure for migraines was comedy. Interesting. So,
It
okay.
wasn't actually a cure, but it
But
it
it was a
didn't
way to
hurt
have an
anymore.
outlet. Yeah, to have
Yeah.
like some sort of employability, creative outlet, stress reliever for sure. Like, I mean, like that's why like when you see those people that have been doing it for like ever and they're not going anywhere and they're just bombing all the time, and you'll have like, the your jaded friend that's like, why are they even still coming around? It's like, because this is cathartic. To just scream at like seven people, even if no one gives a fuck about what you're talking about. This is a great healthy outlet, to sometimes some people just kind of replace comedy with their social life because they don't have one. But, for more or less, it's a great, I love writing personally. That was my like draw to it. So, I mean, like everyone has their way that they get into it, whether it's like, a rock bottom sort of situation where you're like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like, how am I gonna make money? And like, I got into comedy thinking I was gonna make more money than DJing because I was DJing before that, and I was dead fucking wrong. So like, but 8 years, you've established yourself now and stuff like that. You've like paved a way for yourself. You're not like just fucking around randomly anymore. I would assume.
Agreed. Agreed. Um, I actually have been fucking around randomly lately.
But that's freeing too, because now you are seasoned, though. You're not like, trying to figure out how to. You've had the mic unplug and make that squeak noise one time in your life now, at least, or at least, something like that. You've had bad
Yeah.
times, you have adaptability. But I think that's cool too. Like, so what are you doing now on stage then? Like, when you mean like fucking around?
Well, I by fucking around, I mean I don't have a bunch of shows lined up. I've got a couple shows lined up, but I haven't been seeking out the sage time like I used to.
Is that for any particular reason or just
Yes, I
okay?
am incredibly busy with the rest of my life.
Okay, what is going on in the rest of your life then? Are you doing like
It,
acting? Are you doing more comedy related things? Do you have like a job that's just better and more fulfilling that we don't have to talk
uh,
about and throw under the bus or anything like that if you don't want to?
no, 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 no. The job I have is not fulfilling. I do acting, but
That's
I
awesome.
also write. I have a writing partner, and the two of us have written a couple of sitcom pilots together, and we're working on getting them produced right now.
That's awesome. Having been, I also have done that, not to be like me too, but I'm just excited. Bless you. And you know, if you didn't have migraines recently, get ready because that is that I anytime I've been involved with developing a pilot or a TV show or any time I've been in an opportunity that I definitely didn't deserve, I just realize how fucking tedious isn't even the word. The entire process is like I've developed a few pilots for networks and they've all been rejected at some point eventually after being greenlit. I've done some things on actual television, but the things that I've written, produced and then made from conception to end, I personally I don't even care by then. So like I've all the more power to you for like the stick to itiveness to for that shit because people just think like I wrote a screenplay, like who can I show it to and be on Netflix? And you're like, fuck, that's dude, give it like 10 years maybe, you know, and then maybe people will see it because like it's such a I'm giving this is all I mean as a compliment too. It's very demoralizing the way I mean it like the way show business works because it's when they want your thing, it's all yes, yes, yes. But when they say no, they don't just say no, they just stop talking to you, which is extra more brutal. But I have high hopes for you. You are very funny, and you know you've already developed a few. So, do you anything you could share? Any ones that are like about anything like topical?
Well, yeah, actually, one of them, it's called Police. Um, it is topical, it's fresh,
It's
it's
awesome.
definitely more for streaming. It's about a retirement age couple aunt, whose elderly aunt moves in with them, and then their gay son and his husband also move in with them. And they are in the midst of trying to recover from the pandemic. And the female of the retirement couple, she does stand-up comedy herself. The elderly aunt is a pothead and very into the polyamorous community. She got kicked out of her nursing home because I don't know if you know this, even in Colorado, though weed is legal, if you are in a federally subsidized nursing home, they do not allow usage.
Oh, well, yeah, wow, fuck. God damn it. Fucking loopholes. So annoying. Like,
It
can,
is annoying
yeah.
because the biggest growing market of weed consumption right now is the elderly.
Well, because though they specifically like that generation now, they lived in like their whole lives, it was like completely demonized. Like, you know, like even like when they were kids, like from the fucking timber industry, doing like racist propaganda to like, you know, like Nixon being like, it's a Schedule One narcotic. You know what I mean? They've only known it as like a dangerous thing, and then they hit it, and then they realize it's not like a lava lamp background, and you're just doing a cartwheel down the street hallucinating. You're like, oh, my bones feel nicer. I don't even know how to describe getting high. It's like being dizzy behind your eyes in a nice way. Like I don't even know how to describe it anymore. It's just a calming effect, you know. But yeah, I would agree that it is the most rising market because they when you're repressed with something, it's like, it's like the person that doesn't fuck their whole life and then they finally fuck and then they're a fucking freak, because they've had it all pent up for too long or whatever the case. I think I've made my point. I don't need several examples. But so like with the pilot though, is there any like, it seems like there is some like autobiographical like tie-ins with some of the characters, maybe like one you're writing for it, you're like, this is supposed to represent like my friend or like me or like
Yes.
my generation or like kind of like the tropes that we deal with, like more or less, right? You would say?
Yes. There are hints of autobiographical material there, but honestly, most of it is not from me. I help create it, but I'm not the only creator. My
Right.
writing partner uh, had a lot to do with the characters and their direction and what they saw.
Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, like, I don't know, certain partnerships always have like, different dynamics. My personal partner that I ran a TV network with a long time, Zach, he was more the tech guy. He had a lot of creative ideas, but I was the guy more that just like I wrote a character. His name is Toilets Pap Smear. It's gonna be hilarious, and he'd be like, okay, I'll make sure I have a good graphic for it. So, you know, it's not always like Abbott and Costello sort of like laid out. Some people like, I mean, my wife and I both met each other. We both got into comedy. That's how we met each other, but we both got into comedy wanting to be TV writers. We both were in the want of like, we don't want to be like known necessarily. Like we're not seeking fame. We just want to like honestly write forever. And if no one reads it, that'd be cool too. But like I would like people to like it. So you never know what people necessarily bring to the table. Because sometimes with partnerships, one person's just the creative person, the other person's just got like that it factor. Like they're just like, I'm
Yeah.
fucking funny and I don't do shit. And you're like, I hate you, but like, I have something that I can't. You have something I can't do. So it's cool though that you have a very even balanced, or like they're able to bring like certain things to the table and you're able to like, probably add like a lot of the comedic elements to it then.
Well, one of the really nice things about my partnership, first of all, my partner, her name is Judy, and she used to do stand up. She was doing stand up next to Roseanne when Roseanne was back in Denver before she made it big.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, Judy has some major experience. Plus, we're able to look at each other and say, you know what? That could be funnier.
Yeah, it's good to have. I mean, I'm super lucky to be married to a comedian and a comedian that's much funnier than me. So I can always be like, does this have legs? And she'll just be like, nope. And I'll be like, thank you. Like it really, it does help. Even just to have someone tell you, like, is this good? And they're like, yes. And you're like, okay, I need, like, because you could just scream it into the void all you want. I think that's what I know this is kind of off topic, but like similar in comedy, like roast battles. I think that's what like the anxiety behind them is because it's like, it's not like that, like you're like unsure necessarily if this is funny or not. It's the fact that it's like untested also on top of it. You're like, I'm going into this because you don't like rehearse a roast battle. You don't go to open mics and like, all right, now you say yours. You just kind of like drill it in the mirror, like run it, and you're like, actually, I'm gonna make fun of a shirt, like or whatever, and then you're like, fuck. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Actually, the wake and bake has gone too far. So you like with the pilots and stuff. You did a show that's on Amazon Prime now, Unfit. You're on that show. Is that one that you wrote or you just acted in? Is that more of just like your acting and stuff?
Just acting.
Okay, so what do you like doing better? Do you like being more on the acting side of things, or do you like being more on the creative side of things?
Both.
You like both? It's okay to
Both.
like
I
both, but
like
which one do you like
acting. I like
more?
writing.
All right, what do you like about each of them? What do you like and hate about each of them? Let's do pros, roses and thorns.
Well, obviously, when you're acting, you get more accolades.
You going for
Uh,
like an EGOT or something?
well, you definitely get validation from outside yourself when you're acting.
I think that's true. Yeah, because like I said before with the writing thing, like you kind of are like behind the scenes and a lot of that. Which is what I like about it. But the narcissist part of me does want to be famous still.
See, and the narcissist part of me loves the writing because I can create my universe however I want it. Oh, my brother no longer exists? Oh, how cool. And I keep writing. Oh, my dad's alive again? How cool. I keep writing, you know?
I never thought about it like that, and honestly, and I mean this truly, that was a very inspiring way to put it. Like really, like my like things with writing, like I wrote a book, it's published, it's nice, but then immediately people were like, "Are you gonna write another one?" And I was like, "What?" Because I never knew that like if you wrote a book, that means you have to write another book. I was like, "No, I just wrote a book. Like, what are you talking about? I don't want to keep doing this shit necessarily." But like, I don't know. It's true. Like, I guess it is. I always thought about it as fulfilling, but narcissistic is a great way to look at writing because you are just creating like this ideal thing to you. Even people that write about
Exactly. And
dystopian
then
shit, you're like,
and
what are you
then you
doing?
throw the drama in.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's kind of like when they say like your dreams, are you like processing like your day or like what's like subconsciously going on? Like, I guess with a lot of that, that's sort of like always what writers are doing. Obviously, like the more like famous ones, they're doing like symbolism or like what have you, like fucking Huck Finn or some goofy shit, But more or less, I don't think we're writing anything like to symbolize our times. More like does page three need more dick jokes or like or are we good with just the two at dinner when grandma accidentally eats the cat? I don't know.
Oh, FYI, skipping back just a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, when I got hired for my part on Unfit, they looked at I was the only one who didn't have to audition.
What was that
I
like?
sent
You were
in,
just like a bad motherfucker. You just walked in there like, I'm not doing it.
no, no, no. I sent in my headshot and they took one look at it and said, "This is our character."
Wow. What is your
Uh,
character? I know the name's Danielle, but like what is it about the character where they saw you and they're like she encapsulates that.
well, in the script, it was written that my character had and this is a quote,
Yeah.
"rape jokes aren't funny" haircut. So they took one look at my headshot and my shaved side,
Yeah.
and
I think we both qualify for that, honestly. I have been typecasted before. I sent my headshot one time to an agency for a thing, and they called me back. Just same thing. They were like, "We saw you. You're it," and it was a Star Trek nerd. They were like,
oh,
"Yeah, that's him. He's there. He is." But then
perfect.
they were like, "Are you signed up with us?" And I said, "No." And they go, "Oh, never mind then." And they hung up on me. So apparently not that good. But I think there's some that's I don't know, but like you nailed the role, you got it. So you weren't offended by it. You were like, let's do this shit. Like, so was the character like uptight? Like, were you similar to the character, or were you able to just like hone in like some sort of energy?
No, I just grasped what they were looking for and went there.
Yeah. I mean I act, but I can't act well. I do it, but I'm always myself. Oh well, I'll figure it out one day. I'm not trying to find truth in any scene. Where's the truth in this Dunkin' Donuts commercial? But
No small roles, just
that's
small
true.
actors.
That's true. I was an extra in an orthodontist commercial, you know? I got bragging rights. So, okay, so you do stand so were you doing acting before comedy, or comedy was the into all of this because you were like, I can't find a regular job, so I'm gonna get into comedy, and then at certain points you're like, I want to do sketch comedy, I want to do sketches, I want to do spec scripts, or was it the other way? You had already been writing and then you were like, well, I'm gonna do comedy now too.
Well, the acting came first. I've been
Okay, see, that's
acting
a lot
since
of
I was
people.
6.
Oh, okay. One of those freaks. Just kidding. Did you do any like gigs when you were a kid? Were you one of those? Like,
No, I was too rural.
where did you grow up?
In a very rural area in South Dakota.
Ooh, not Aberdeen, is it?
No, that's where I went to college. Aberdeen
Oh
was the
boy.
closest big town.
I need to talk to you then. So, one of my best friends here in Nebraska, a person I do a podcast with, Kyle Anderson, I'm going to name drop him and everything. He's from Aberdeen and he says all these like isms that seem bizarre to me. And then he'll be like, no, it's a South Dakota thing. And I'm like, I don't think you're telling the truth. So, I need to ask you a few things. I don't get an opportunity to meet you people. And I mean that in a good way. What? Tell me about tiger meat, please.
Oh, I love tiger meat.
What the fuck is going on? Okay, we've talked about it on my podcast at nauseum, but not on this one. Tiger meat, if you don't know, is especially in South Dakota,
It's raw hamburger.
It's raw hamburger meat with, as Kyle would put it, assorted onions, peppers, and spices on it, and you eat it with saltine crackers
Or Ritz crackers.
or Ritz. Okay, we're getting brand name on it. It's a semantics thing now. Okay, what is good about it? It sounds scary. It sounds, you don't get sick.
No,
Interesting. All South
no.
Dakota people answer it like this, by the way, too. They're like very
It
confident and like stand by tiger meat. I've also never heard it
tiger
called
meat's
that.
wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And then you went to
It,
college and
it it's really delicious. You wouldn't expect it to be.
hmm.
But it's kind of like South Dakota sushi.
Ah, God, it's like the same shit he says. South Dakota, this is really a South Dakota thing. Damn, I'm trying to think. What other things has he blamed on South Dakota? Now that I'm on the spot, I could have a list all day, every day. But no, okay, I'm sure this isn't true. He told me one time he was going to show me how to drink like a South Dakota boy. And then he fell asleep on his third beer. And this is where it gets interesting. I've never seen anyone. This might be just a Kyle Anderson thing. He would he was sitting straight up with his beer asleep, and he would wake up, like act like he was not asleep, sip his beer, and go back to sleep. He like literally drank a beer while napping for 5 hours. That's
That's
not a
pretty
thing, right?
impressive.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I think I need to introduce you two. I think you two would be best friends, actually. Damn,
Well, chances are we've met. One of the South Dakota
possibly.
things is when you see somebody who's from South Dakota and you're from South Dakota, you immediately start playing the who do you know that I know game.
Ooh, yeah. Have noticed that. Well, I didn't realize living here, I was gonna be going there so often to even do shit. Like, I didn't realize I was gonna be in this like 3 hour triangle of comedy, basically. I was like, what? Lincoln can't handle two open mics a week? That's crazy. So like I didn't realize I was gonna have to go to Omaha, but now they don't book me. So now I gotta go to Kansas City or Sioux Falls or whatever. But Sioux Falls, honestly, uh the first time I went there, because I've been there a few times and I'm going back soon, actually. I actually love that city. But it looks just like Connecticut. for whatever reason. I don't know why. It just reminds me of home. And all of like the weird, like, why is it so gray outside for no reason? And like the fake bougie, but also still kind of bouginess of it. I guess the only like, and this is like, I've only noticed it when people would visit me in Connecticut. I guess the only difference is shit in Connecticut is just way older looking because it's all like from the 1700s. And like
Yeah.
a lot of shit, every in like the Midwest, everyone's just like every bar, the towny bar is just whatever the fucking year the state was founded or whatever. Like 1867, bang bang, 1868, woohoo! Like, like wherever you are and stuff. So I don't know. It's just different. It's more Wild West out here. So what brought you? So you South Dakota just went down to like your Midwest Hollywood. You went down to Denver.
No.
No, there was a
No.
journey all along because I went basically from Connecticut to Nebraska, and that was I never even been to Lincoln. I just moved here, like so.
No, I got my degree in South Dakota and then I moved to California and lived
Oh,
out there for almost a decade.
yeah, where in Cali?
At first I lived in Bakersfield and then I lived in West Hollywood.
Oh, nice,
And
cool,
then
cool.
I got a job offer to move to Dallas. So
Dallas.
I went to Dallas for 4 years, hated Dallas,
Hmm.
just could not stand it.
Yeah, I bet.
A
Go
friend of
Cowboys.
mine, well, they say everything's bigger in Dallas. They haven't looked in their pants yet.
Oh, let's go. Well, they got that big belt buckle blocking it.
Yeah.
They should probably put a Bic
Uh,
lighter next to it. It'd look a little better in comparison.
yeah. It's the one star state. There's no question about that.
Yeah. Like a Yelp review.
Basically,
That's funny.
it's nice to visit, but don't live there. You're so restricted. And may I add, their weed is awful.
Can we talk about
It's just the
Nebraska being in the
worst.
same thing? I'm like, I didn't realize how deprived it is here. Like, also, like, just getting it at first when I moved here was hard.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was like, to a 21-year-old dishwasher at a restaurant I was working at for a hot second. I was like, do you know where I can get weed? He's like, I don't know you. I was like, do I look like a cop, bro? If I was a cop, I'd be the best cop because I am fucking up constantly and not arresting anyone. Yeah, so I mean, Texas is so like ass backwards, but I'm really surprised about the weed thing because you think they'd be like, as far as like
Mexican
profitability, it's a
grade weed.
big city. Like, why aren't I mean, I've always noticed it, touring back in the day, like drugs are always more expensive in the middle of the country just because they're harder to get there. And it's the more it takes to get your shit to you, the more you're gonna have to pay for it. Thank God I don't do
Yeah.
coke anymore. But either way. But like going like moving, they legalized it in Connecticut a month after I moved. So I was like, wow, I really fucked myself over. But Missouri just legalized it, so now I don't have to drive 8 hours at least if I want to obtain legal marijuana. I can go to Kansas City now and fuck my life up. But it's weird because I have to go to the Missouri side to get weed. I have to go to the Kansas side to get an abortion. So, big city,
Well,
a lot
we've
of things
got
to
it all
do.
here in Denver.
I, you used to be able to do all those here in Lincoln, but as soon as they overturned it, Nebraska was like, how can we fuck over even more people? I've been looking at Colorado because we're thinking about getting out of here, not because we moved here mostly for cheapness, just being able to not, live more off our creative endeavors and not like all of our money going to bills, which is what they were doing in Connecticut. Connecticut's very expensive and stuff like that. Plus, my wife's not from there, so she had no fucking allegiance to it. You know what I mean? she got a job offer when she moved there to live when we decided to move in together. Much like your Dallas, that was her Dallas was Connecticut. She was like, I fucking hate it here. And I'd be like, same, I've lived here my whole life. And for me, as just a traveling comic, it was always a good going to New York or Boston, jumping off point, and then just going on the road, hitting the road. You know what I mean? You don't have to in Denver. You probably just do you stay in the city a lot to do comedy? Do you hit the road ever? Or are there a lot of spot you go like
Yes,
Fort
I hit the road
Collins?
from time to time.
Where do you
I
go?
love hitting the road.
Anywhere. Where's your favorite?
Hawaii.
Oh, okay. Well, how do you drive there?
Well, I didn't.
That's dope. I've had some offers to go there. I'm like I'm not afraid of flying, but that's like a long ass flight. I flew to the Korea and then the Philippines once, and that kind of like killed me for long flights, especially over the ocean. I much rather like the land. You can land on land even if things have gone to shit. I don't know, probably crash anyways. The ocean just seems much more treacherous when it comes to my, irrational fears. When I like flying, but I'd much rather drive to gigs. So Hawaii's always like that. Like, yeah, I'll do it. And then when push comes to shove, I'm like, I'm just gonna go to the gas station in Iowa and bomb there probably. I don't know. So what? How often do you go to Hawaii? Do you go there often, or just like the place that just like captured your heart the first time you went there?
Well, yes. Um, it did capture my heart the first time I went there, and luckily I've got cousins who live there, so uh I don't have to avoid Hawaii. It's, I've got a place to stay.
I was talking about this. I did an interview literally at yesterday morning. Also, I don't know why the block lately has been all morning interviews. These wake and bake sessions have been nice. But Glenn Tickle, we were talking about, he does that in certain places that he loves to. When he travels, he'll stay with people. But because I was saying one of my again, we're going into irrational fears that I just brought up. I always feel like a nuisance staying with people. I love to stay with my friends, or especially when my friends are traveling. Being in the middle of the country, and when I didn't, I always offer my home as a haven for traveling comics because I know how it is. But I always opt into getting a hotel room. Like, even if like my best friend was like, please stay with me. We have like 9 spare bedrooms. I'd love to have you. I'd be like, okay, I got a room at the Holiday Inn Express, though. Sorry, I just need to watch X-Men 2 by myself, if I'm being honest.
No.
That's cool that you have
Uh,
friends, though, like out there. Like, that's really cool. Like, I have my wife's got family in Hawaii, and I don't even punch in that card. You know what I'm saying? I should be like, oh, he's got his
yeah,
name's
no,
Brian, too. Be like,
I
Uncle
love my cousins
Brian.
out there.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome. Because that's been my favorite. I don't know if you've gathered yet. I go into things with a very negative headspace. That's more so to protect myself, mostly with gigs and shit. But I think my favorite thing in life, I love traveling. I love going back to places, but I think one of my favorite like feelings is going into somewhere thinking it's going to be shitty or stupid, and then it's like wonderful. I think that's always like my favorite. Like, oh my God, I love this town in Ohio. What the fuck is happening? Like, it's so quaint here, you know? Like, that's my favorite. But Hawaii, I think, like, going into it, you're like, this is gonna be fucking amazing. But then you get there and you're like, oh shit, where's Dog the Bounty Hunter? Like, what? Where's the ice pipe, bro? Bruh, excuse me. I didn't use the correct accent. So
Well, when
Hawaii,
he's not in
Denver,
Hawaii, he's here in Denver
that's cool.
because
I mean, like,
he's
I
from
guess like
Denver.
you love Denver though, specifically. Like, what you go
I
up like at
really do.
the what's the big room? The Comedy Works there? Is that like the spot?
Yeah.
You go. I saw. Well, one you did send me a clip. I did see that you were going up there and stuff. So that's fucking cool. I mean, it that was interesting too because, like I said, you're the second stranger I've done these interviews with, but you were the first to send me a clip, which I actually appreciated. Any other circumstances, a comedian sending you a clip is a fucking nightmare scenario. But I was like, it would be nice to know the vibe of who I'm talking to, because if now that we are deep in it, I would have been like, you know what? Something came up. I actually, I gotta go to, and then just delete my Facebook. But this has been
Well,
good. This has
okay,
been fun. What?
what vibe did you get off of my clips?
Funny. You were funny. You the okay. If you we're gonna, you know what? We'll do this. We'll do compliment session. I liked your opener especially because it not only like the line, like the joke in and of itself, it's funny. It was the you have a good voice. I'll give you that. Your voice is good. You have like a smoky voice. But like your attitude is what I liked about it. You sound like you don't give a fuck about talking to people, which is something I also try and do. People have called me like, it's just like you don't even give a fuck. I mean, I really do. I think it's like I'm acting, obviously, that I don't care because deep down inside, I'm just like a big like, please like my things. I'm so sad. Please like this. If you don't laugh at this, I will whine about it for a month to my wife. Please. Be like, they just didn't get it that Joe Rogan learned how to read while he gets kicked in the head. You guys don't understand art. But so 8 years, you started in Denver, stuff's on Amazon Prime, got new stuff coming out in development. What's the next thing you got on? You gonna just keep churning out the scripts? Do you have like any projects that you're like hardcore like focusing on in 2023? Is it just the writing? Are you trying to like you said you've been fucking around more with stand up? Is it being more of like a backing away from seeking out stage time and focus more on like, you know, the writing or like the I don't know, just the other creative stuff. Cause like I've been, you know, as I've been kind of taking it back from like doing stuff on stage and doing conversations with people or having my friends over and just podcasting because I realized having my only two friends here laughing on my couch was actually more beneficial to riffing than bombing at an open mic for the same seven comedians that haven't written a new thing since I've lived here. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Actually, in 2023, I'm focusing on a screenplay that I'm writing. It's a totally different direction. It's
Different than the
suspense.
retirement home comedy, right?
Yeah.
Is it anything you can talk about or is it just something you're excited about? I just want to make sure.
Well, it's not copyrighted yet.
Okay, that's what I was like seeing to go. But is it? Are you saying it's a totally different? Like it's more of like a serious tone, or is it
Very serious. It's
interesting?
suspense.
Hmm. I love stuff like that too because like I mean depending on how drunk you are my book is either a comedy or a tragedy honestly so I totally get it. I worked at a really crappy liquor store for a long time and it's just like the worst and best of stories so it's like you know oh well if you really think about this is technically sad as fuck but it's also hilarious you know so I always appreciate the crossovers. I mean, like, you know, you had Jordan Peele, like, you know, he's obviously like a hilarious dude. He's a sketch comic, but then he's like, you know what? I'm also gonna just master horror films real quick. And you're like, oh, interesting. I didn't like so I always get like you've piqued my curiosity. I'm excited to see what you have coming down the pipeline. That will
Well,
be
thank you.
yeah. So besides your writing partner, is it just you doing your stuff? Do you have like production companies that you do stuff with, or are you just like a DIY sort of person? Because I'm like to a fault DIY, like where I'm like a control freak about it. Like I want to do all of it, like, you know, but then I'm like, why did I not ask for help?
Well, my writing partner and I have a few connections in Hollywood that we've been uh leaning on, so to speak.
Oh, trust me, I lean
Um,
on people not in Hollywood. I'm like, my friend in Massachusetts, please edit this for me. Please. I will pay you.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. We're looking to build a team here so that we can produce what we've written.
That's amazing. That's, kind of what I'm trying to do here with that too. And you are helping me do that too. And hopefully, and if there's any way I can ever help you with that, I'm not a connect in Hollywood, but I'm now your connect in Nebraska, which I would argue is more important. We got multiple stadiums here at least. So if you want to open for Larry the Cable Guy at Pinnacle Bay Arena, you let me know. I will probably not get a call back, but I will try for you at least, which is more.
Well, I'll be sure to keep my Preparation H joke on tap for that.
Yeah, I would open and close with it. They're not smart out here. They'll just ask for Pepsi anyways. You know what I mean? Have you ever done comedy in Nebraska? You're close. I mean, I've never even made it to Colorado. I'm fucking slacking, but like you at least have an excuse because you're leaving the good state to go to the bad one.
No, actually, I've never been invited to Nebraska.
I'd invite
Um,
you, but it's an 8 hour hike here to Lincoln. I have a decent show that I would book you on, but I don't want to. I see. I feel bad. I feel like making someone drive even to come do a show, which is like any comedian will do that for mozzarella sticks, but we can't tell people that. But like, and it's a good paying and it's a good room too, and I still feel bad even making someone drive, still or like traveling. You know what I mean? Like that's this is where I'm a worrier. But I would
oh
book
no,
you. I
I've
would book you
I've
out here, but
driven further
I
for
would just feel bad making you drive across Nebraska. It's so fucking boring.
well, I've driven across South Dakota. I've performed there.
Yeah.
Um,
You drove through here. That's good. South Dakota is actually fun to do comedy. I mean, politically it's fucked, but like, the people there seem pretty normal, but like Nebraska, it's both. The politics are fucking the people, you're like, something's wrong behind those eyes. I don't fucking know. You know?
no, I understand exactly what you're saying.
Thank you.
Um, the second sitcom that we wrote is called Dakota 57437, which is
Ooh.
kind of mocking Beverly Hills 90210.
I love
And
that. Just conceptually, like I've always, I've had an idea for a show for a long time of just like a travel show where they just glorify small towns. Like, like Guy Fieri, like walking around, like looking at the town's history and shit, but it's just like a town of like 300 in South Dakota. And then like the next week he's in like the woods in Maine, like shit like that. That shit gets me like, yes, because those are where you find gems of people, uh, stores, just things you couldn't even understand that existed and sustains itself, like economies that are just mind-boggling.
yeah.
I'm intrigued because I've even joked recently on our show that we're so like, I mean, I did a live stream where I was just playing a video game and people were like, why did you say shit about Governor Pillen here? Like, we're so like at this point anti-Nebraska on our other show. I've joked with Kyle, like, we might as well become the South Dakota podcast at this point, which he just gets all excited about. And I'm like, all right, never mind, actually. But that's where I'm leaning towards. I'm about to be a South Dakotian podcaster. Is that the word?
I'm South Dakotan.
A South. Ugh, I hate it. Whatever. I'll get used to it. Honestly, I'll get used to it. I'll get used to going to Taco John's and Five Guys. Shit like that.
Taco John's is one of my favorites.
I like Taco John's. Taco John's is good. I like Five Guys too. I don't know why. I just know we did a benefit for them in South Dakota, so I don't know why I brought them into it. But shit. So where can like people find you and stuff? Do you have any like current things going on? Are you running any shows and stuff? Where are the social medias and stuff too and stuff like that?
Well, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me under Hip Hip Maurae on Facebook. Um, you can also find me on Instagram, The Real Maurae. Uh,
Damn, mine's the fake Maurae, so gonna have to change mine.
uh I'm doing a show here in Denver on 420 that you might
Yes,
want to
let's
check
go.
out.
I'll be there. I'll be there. I'm recording my special there. Actually, I'm on the lineup now. This is networking, folks. This is how you get it. 420 in Denver. I mean, shit. I can't imagine a more like it's gonna look like a nuclear cloud, but of just pot smoke. Honestly, for that show. So are venues like? Can you smoke in a venue or no? It's not like that legal, right? It's treated like alcohol.
You may not smoke in the venue. You
Okay.
will any actual lighting of fire will be frowned upon in the venue. Now you're not supposed to vape in the venues either,
Right.
but I can tell you that if you're subtle about it, most venues don't care.
Oh, trust me, I rely on that out here. It's just getting a vape out here is easier said than done. Very true. Honestly, I mean, like I've only done like one room ever. I think it was in Massachusetts. There's like a smoke like lounge, which still blows my mind. And it's like you just bring weed and just start sparking it up. It's like, okay. But I don't like performing for people that are like really, really high. And I'm a huge pothead. Potheads just don't laugh at things. That's the problem. Potheads just go, that's funny. And then they continue. But I'm just teasing. Your
Ex
show's going to be amazing.
exactly.
Yeah, that
They have
exactly.
dab lounges here. I don't know if you've
Whoa,
ever
that
been to
sounds
a dab lounge.
irresponsible. Is it like in a bed? Like a bed with no fucking blankets on it, just a bare mattress. I want the real dab experience. My friend's bare mattress, in front of a futon, in front of a IKEA black table with a PS3 on it, because we're poor, you know?
No, 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 no,
You
no.
don't know.
It's more like a bar. You walk in, there's a bar there. They have heated uh bongs ready to go for dabs.
Really?
Um,
That sounds so
you
fucking
walk in,
irresponsible.
the dab tender will ask you, how do you
Dabbed.
want to, yeah, how do you want to feel? Not what do you want to smoke, not indica or sativa. They say, how do you want to feel? And I always say, I want to be really, really stoned, but I have to drive home yet. So then they say, oh, you want golden goat,
How do you want to
which
feel?
is,
Not here or like myself, please.
well, when you're performing, you get performer dabs for free.
Uh,
So,
dabs are like the my like I'm a seasoned veteran. I eat edibles, I smoke weed, I hit dab pens, but when I do like dab rigs, all bets are off. I can't handle it. That is not weed. That is defiance of God itself. It is an abomination. It wrecks me. I think that would be the only way to make me not able to perform like comedy high. Because other than that, it's I need it to do comedy.
well, see, everybody in the dab
That's
lounge
wild. No,
has
I'm saying you guys
already
are
done
pros
several
then. Like,
dabs.
yeah.
So by the time you get on stage, everybody's done a bunch of dabs
Yeah, wow.
and they're all just blank like a brick wall. You do your comedy and you swear they didn't hear a word, but when you're walking out the door at the end of the night, they'll come up to you and grab you and say, "Oh my God, you were so funny. You said this," and they can quote you word for word exactly what you said.
Yeah, I love those people. Those people need to do that more often if that's how they feel. I think that's just a lot of like more so with people they just don't go to comedy shows or a lot or they think one thing of them. They think it's like very like net it's like what a Netflix special is and then they get there and then it's just like me doing dab rigs and I'm like, "Hey, you guys, who's fucking tonight?" And they're like, "Oh, this is way more casual, but then they like come around to it, so they don't know how to like react to it. So I have a tendency to be like, who's ever been to a comedy show before? That's like usually like my opening spiel. Is anyone even like who's like actually never even done this shit, you know? And then you'd be surprised. And then I'm like, okay, because they raise their hand. I'll be like, this isn't fucking school. You know what I mean? Clap, slap your fucking meat hands together and give me some valid. Also, don't make faces at me. Don't nod. I can't see you. There's a spotlight on me because I'm fucking famous. I'm on stage. You know, you're gonna have to vocalize. I need woos and slapping the hand. You know, I'm like a guy with a clipboard. Yeah, Cornhusker football has changed my comedy. I guess I'm running it like I'm like blowing a whistle in their face. Like, all right, give me 2 puns, go. Like, no,
Cornhusker
maybe.
football has been increasing everybody's comedy in the Midwest.
Because they're so fucking bad. And our governor will call out the other governor about sports and politics in one post. He's a fucking G. Did I say G? I meant dirty pig farmer. Excuse me. So do you have any final things that you want to say? I know we did the social media plugs and stuff, but do you have any final things that you want to put out there? I know, like, just anything. Remember, it's fucking Unfit on Amazon Prime, which I will be watching right after we get out of this. I'm not gonna lie. I want to just dive in, and I'll make sure I put all your info in the YouTube comments and stuff like that too. So just click this thing that I didn't put in the video, you guys, but it's down there.
I just want to say thank you for having me as your guest. It's been fun. I love a wake and bake with a friend. And next time I'm in Lincoln, I'm gonna look you up so you can put me on that show.
I will. Please come back. Any final Friday of the month, I got you. If you want to work something out, I will do that. I would much rather, actually book a funny comedian on my show than have to book someone out here. Just kidding. But I would love to book you. Again, it was just driving across Nebraska. I would never want to punish anyone like that. That is not made for anyone. But also, if you brought some legal weed here, that would be pretty amazing, because I am sick of the Republican weed, this Delta 8 fucking goofy shit they got going on out here. It's a mess.
Well, definitely keep me in mind as soon as the weather lightens up. I'm there.
Yes, we will get you. I mean, I can't promise Hawaii weather, but I can promise the wind letting up slightly. Maurae, this was amazing. Thank you so much for joining me today. Go follow her on all of our shit, guys. Thank you again. You're the best.